Right, so I'm going to do a quick introduction into the place that I now live and work, since I realized I hadn't done that. This is actually Haichen, Chongqing, China, and that still sounds like a made-up name. This is actually the entrance to the university I work at right here with this giant stone. It is the Chongqing University of Posts and Telecommunications. As far as I can tell, it does journalism, telecommunications, language, since there are German and English majors here. Art. Right, it does art, which is actually kind of an oddity. Haichen itself is a small city in China of about 1.5 million people, which is, of course, 3 times the size of the largest city in my state. And that's if you're counting Louisville, Kentucky's population quite generously, which I'll get to in a little bit. Haichen used to actually be its own city, but then was incorporated into the larger structure of Chongqing, China in 2003, I believe, 2003. Don't Google that. I'm right. Don't worry. Chongqing is actually a super interesting and important city in China, and the fact that nobody knows about it outside of China is kind of perplexing and frustrating. If you were to look, you would find out that Chongqing is the 4th largest city in China. That is, however, a big old fat lie. That would be like saying New York has 1.5 million people in it. Depending on how you want to count populations, New York does have 1.5 million people in it. That is, of course, if you're counting literally just New York City, nothing else. Not counting the Bronx or Queens or anything like that. The greater metropolitan area of New York, for instance, has about 10 million people in it, making it the largest city in the United States. One of the largest cities in North America. I think the 2nd largest city in North America after Mexico City. If we were to count the greater metropolitan area of Chongqing, Chongqing actually has 26 million people living inside of its administrative area. That actually makes it the largest city in China, and it makes it the 3rd largest city in the entire world. The Chinese are more than aware of this. It's not counted as being a really super huge city because, for lack of any better explanation, it is very spread out. It is, in land area, the 3rd largest city in the world, too, depending on how you want to count it. Second only to Sao Paulo, and Tokyo, which is the size of Maryland, if you ever look at Tokyo on a map. It's literally the size of the U.S., small U.S. state. Chongqing is pretty big, too. And again, pretty important. It is the world's, regardless of how you count, it is the world's largest inland city. That is, city that is not on a coast. It is one of the 4 directly controlled administrative areas of China. That means the government, federal government, hello doggy, actually runs the city. One sec. It is the industrial and economic heart of central China, and it's very historically, I guess, interesting and important because this was the capital of of China during the Second Sino-Japanese War, as we like to call it, World War II. Beijing was, of course, taken by the Imperial Japanese military, and they evacuated, more or less, the Chinese government to Chongqing. I'll probably do a video at some point when I go into Chongqing proper and show you around the cave cities. There are actually cities cut just directly into the side of mountains in Chongqing to protect from bombing during World War II. The city was extremely heavily bombed. The United States military, which was helping the Chinese at the time, set up its headquarters there, and they now have the Stilwell Museum after General Stilwell, who Chinese people definitely know who General Stilwell is, especially here. And he is kind of a very odd city hero. I mean, it's not really that odd. Kind of wonder if that person beeping at me knew me, or if they were beeping at me at all. Yeah, Stilwell. Yeah, he's kind of like a city hero here, and it's very interesting. As one of my teachers, the Chinese, teachers explained, no one else was helping, so they very much appreciate General Stilwell's involvement in the war. Yeah, it continually strikes me that just nobody knows really outside of China where Chongqing is, or what it is, or how important it is, and I don't know why. I mean, in the U.S., I kind of know why. We're pretty oblivious. I think we'd be, hard-pressed to find most Americans that know 3 cities in China, let alone the 4th.